Are you coming to the tree? They strung up a man, they say, who murdered 3. Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree where a dead man called out for his love to flee? Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree where I told you to run so we'd both be free? Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree where a necklace of hope side by side with me? Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree where I told you to run so we'd both be free? Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree where they strung up a man, they say we murdered 3? Strange things that happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree. Are you coming to the tree? And call out for his love to flee. Strange things that happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree.
The Lynching by Claude McKay. His spirit as smoke ascended to high heaven. His father, by the cruelest way of pain, had bidden him to his bosom once again. The awful sin remained still unforgiven. All night a bright and solitary star, perchance the one that ever guided him, yet gave him up at last to fate's wild whim, hung pitifully over the swinging char. Day dawned, and soon the mixed crowds came to view the ghastly body swaying in the sun. The women thronged to look, but never a one showed sorrow in her eyes of steely blue. And little lads, lynchers that were to be, danced round the dreadful thing in fiendish glee.
The horrendous practice of lynching had become widespread in the South within the decades following the Civil War. This severely impacted the life of thousands of African Americans across the United States.
White supremacy was more visible, and the hate towards African Americans and slaves from whites grew rapidly. This led to the lynching of many people and the St. Louis race riot, which led to dozens of dead people. This event took place in 1917 in the state where Dyer was from and represented in the United States House of Representatives at the time. His representation in the House was what allowed him to introduce the bill to Congress. In 1919, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People joined the support to the bill as an organization, and their executive secretary, James Weldon Johnson, became a lobbying pressure in order for the bill to gain the votes it needed. In 1919, at the start of the 66th Congress, Republicans gained the majority in the House and Senate, which gave supporters of the bill a lot of hope. With constant pressure from its supporters, the Dyer's bill was presented to many lengthy debating sessions in the House of Representatives and was fully voted on January 26, 1922.
In 1922, thousands of African Americans marched in Washington, D.C. in protest against lynching. And finally, that same year, an anti-lynching bill was passed by the House, but Democrats in the Senate blocked the bill from being passed into law. The loss was a huge blow, especially as hate groups like the KKK were becoming mainstream, even marching in front of the Capitol building in D.C. with thousands of members in 1925.
Subsequent bills followed, but the United States Congress never outlawed lynching due to powerful opposition from Southern senators. It was not until 2018 that the Senate passed the Anti-Lynching Legislation Justice for Victims of Lynching Act, on which the House of Representatives took no action. On February 26, 2020, the House passed a revised version, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act.
Senator Paul's amendment would place a greater burden on victims of lynching than is currently required under federal hate crimes laws. There is no reason for this. There is no reason other than cruel and deliberate obstruction on a day of mourning. On this very day, at this very hour, there is a memorial service to honor the life of George Floyd, who was murdered on a sidewalk by a police officer with a knee on his neck. For 8 minutes and 46 seconds, George Floyd pleaded for his life, called for his late mother, and said he could not breathe. The pain experienced not only by that man, that human being, and his family and his children, but the pain of the people of America, witnessing what we have witnessed since the founding of this country, which is that the Black lives have not been taken seriously as being fully human and deserving of dignity. And on this day, the day of George Floyd's funeral, on this day, a day that should be a day of national mourning. So it is remarkable and it is painful to be standing here right now, especially when people of all races are marching in the streets of America outraged by the hate and the violence and the murder that has been fueled by racism during the span of this country's life. And America is raw right now. Her wounds exposed. Raw from the fact that in the history of our country, Black people have been treated as less than human. And the fact is that the country is raw because America has never fully addressed the historic and systemic racism that has existed in our country. And our bill in its current form is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for this body to acknowledge the seriousness of this, to acknowledge that if someone places a noose over someone else's neck, why would you require that in addition their heart would be pulled out or their body pulverized to the point beyond recognition? Our bill is an opportunity to right a wrong and an opportunity for a reckoning in federal law, and we cannot pretend that lynchings are a thing of the past.
Are you coming to the tree where dead men called out for his love to flee. Strange things did happen here, no stranger would it be if we met at midnight.